This is our swing. There's really nothing wrong with it, but Juniper, can we do better?
Yes, we can.
Of course we can do better.
We can do much, much, much better.
All right, let's change out the swing today.
Ooh.
Let's make a new swing out of something else.
To what?
Something that would be more exciting.
I got it. What about a trampoline swing?
Brilliant! Okay, here's where we start. This is a swing that I put in shortly after we moved here. So this is kind of a no-duh thing, but it's really important to choose a rope that's going to be strong enough to do the job. This rope that I hung into the tree is a climbing rope, and it's rated for like 2,000 pounds. Perfectly capable of holding up some kids, but you don't want to skip it. Second of all, make sure the tree limb is in good shape. Make sure it's a healthy tree. Make sure it's a tree limb that's not dying, that's adequate for their weight. This is a black walnut tree. It's massive, it's been here for forever. I've got no worries about this tree limb. It's a simple knot at the top, just holding the rope in place. This climbing rope that I bought actually came with this carabiner, and it came looped at the end so that you can easily hook into it. And I put it in this direction so that I could easily change out swings or whatever fixtures I want without having to climb up and take down the rope. All right, step 2, this exercise trampoline. We didn't have place for a real trampoline, and Juniper wanted a trampoline for Christmas. And so we got her this little exercise trampoline. There's nothing wrong with it, except that in the winter when it's rainy and we can't leave this thing outside, this thing is in the way all the time, kind of like other exercise equipment you get. So the theory is we can take this trampoline and mount it upside down with some ropes, and so that it becomes more of a big disc swing that we can use to push 1, 2, or even more kids. That's the idea. So I grew up in the mountains of North Carolina, and my parents had an outdoor shop called Edge of the World. That's what we named our place in Costa Rica after. They did whitewater rafting trips and climbing and rappelling trips. And I grew up in the woods. We had lots of swings. We had zip lines. It's always just been one of my things, like a kid that never grows up. In Costa Rica, we had this invention called a zip line swing. It was a combination of a zip line and a swing. It was in our yard. The kids loved it. All of our guests loved it. So this is sort of an adaptation of that. So how do we do this? I want to leave these legs on here because I think it gives good handles for kids to hold on to. They all unscrew, and you know, if you find an exercise trampoline at a thrift store, at a yard sale or something, you know, your circumstances will vary. But I'm going to leave these legs on. I think they help. The second thing I did was pop out to the hardware store and buy 50 feet of just regular strong rope. There's nothing really special about it. And I tied a loop knot at the end of each rope. I also put a little piece of duct tape on it so it wouldn't unravel. So the idea is to have 6 of these that are all about the same length, and then we tie them all off in the center at the top. And the way we're going to attach it to the bottom is to bring it under the trampoline. I'm going to bring it over the leg, and then I'm going to take the other piece of it and pull it through the loop. So that when this gets pulled tight, the loop is actually around the main frame of the trampoline and not around just the leg. Otherwise, the leg could come unscrewed and then the knot would pop off. This really keeps it from moving anywhere laterally and should be nice and tight. Again, I've made 6 pieces of rope that are all the same length with all the same loop on the top. So after this point, it's just a matter of working around the circle, something that would work great in fast motion. There's something like being a dad where you want to do some things that are inherently dangerous. Swings are kind of one of those things too, you know? You can really get jacked up on a swing. but it's kind of what makes it exciting. These ropes are close to being the same length, all of them, but maybe not perfect. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loop it over one more time. I'm going to wrap it one more time because I can always unwrap it if I need to, but I've made some calculations on the length of this rope and how much I need to be able to get it to the height above the ground, and you know, it's an experiment. And so you do it, you take it apart, you do it again. Just kind of take the rope and bend it where you want and make a simple loop and then pull it tight. And it's like the most basic knot of knots, and I use it for everything. Next step, I went and I bought one of these from the hardware store. I bought it new. I didn't take any chances on buying anything used. This is just called like a D-link or a quick link. It's like a carabiner that's used like to link two pieces of chain together. It's got this screw on top, which locks it down, and you can crank this down pretty tight. This thing is rated for 3250, so 3,250 pounds. Certainly, we don't need this kind of strength, but I like the size of it, and you can't go too big. This part's pretty simple. I'm gonna start working from alternate sides, taking the loop that I have and putting it in. I'm gonna hold it on my left side of the chain. I'm gonna go to the opposite leg from this trampoline and put in the loop on the opposite side, and then pull them together. And then I just kind of work my way around. One on the right, and then the opposite one on the left. Pull them together. The one on the right, and the opposite one on the left. This is a hit or miss thing because you'll see once it all gets hung up whether it works well or not. Then I can take this thing and lock it. The other nice thing about having this chain link on here, this D-link, is that this can basically stay on there, and I have the carabiner also on the rope so that I can unclip this thing if I need to. Like if we're out of town or something and I don't want the neighborhood kids coming into our yard when we're not here and swinging on our swing, I can just take this thing down and store it. I have all of my ropes around the D-link now, and I'm just gonna kind of arrange them so that they all kind of nest together in the bottom of the link. One of these ropes that I used, I left a long tail on the end of it right here. And I'm gonna take this tail of the rope. You can tell I'm originally from North Carolina when I say words like tail. I'm gonna wrap this tail around the edge like this. I'll do it again when we're hanging it up, so it'll be a little bit easier. Okay, let's go check it out. As I mentioned, I have this existing carabiner up here that's already attached to the rope, and I can just clip that right in. Just like that. Let's let it drop and see what happens. Seems like some of our rope is a little bit looser than others. This exercise trampoline came in sections, right? We had to assemble it, and I'm sure all of them are like that. And so as it bends down, it may twist the frame a little bit, but it's all tubular and is just sliding around. I don't think it'll break it. I don't think it will break it. Let's just wrap this rope nice and tight. On the tail end of one of the other ropes, I let it also go long, and I tied a second loop. And this is a fairly small loop. This is really just big enough to get a hand in. It's absolutely positively not big enough to get a head through. You'd never want to tie any kind of loop in a knot that a kid could stick their head through for obvious reasons. Now, if this thing can hold me and I can jump up on it a little bit, then we'll have it ready for a test from Juniper. So it looks pretty good. It's hanging pretty level. It's not perfect, but perfect really is not the goal here. The goal here is to have something really cool. I'm gonna climb up on it. This lower rope has a little bit more stretchiness to it, and that may help it kind of work out in the end. Let's see if it holds me. Huh? Cool. Before I test this, I'm gonna take off my pants so that I can sing Wrecking Ball while swinging on it. Oh yeah. That's pretty sweet. I have to do all the testing myself, of course. Don't put your kids on there as your test dummies. I'm totally confident it's not going to fail. I know the trampoline part won't fail. We've been using this thing for a couple of years. The rope around the tree seems to be fine. I think we just invented a trampoline swing. Good. We got it. It didn't break. Here we go. Ready?
Holy crap. That actually looks fun.
It is.
It works. Around the world, around the world, around the world.
Oh my goodness! It works!
So parents, make sure you check these ropes because over time they could fray, they could stretch. Above all, you want to make sure the swing is safe for yourself and for your kids. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments section and I'll get right back to you.
And don't forget to hit that like button and remember to subscribe.
That's right, because we have more videos to come, and that's the best way that you'll get to see all of them. Thanks.
Bye.